Greetings, dear ones. This is Friday, March 5th, and it is a beautiful day here on the East Coast. Cold, albeit cold. We were in the 20s a couple hours ago. I think we've moved up to the 30s. So although it looks beautiful outside, it is very much still the ending of winter. And yet there are little signs of spring here and there, the budding, the preparation, the beginning to burst forth. And a lot of people are feeling that same sense of wanting to burst forth, come out, reveal and bloom the flower within. And that gets very, very difficult when we are in relationships, whether they are with our partner or with parents or even with our bosses or business, that does not allow us to follow our true inner knowing and our true information from and through our innate. The innate is an aspect of your both human and soul self, because the information is coming from your wider self or your soul in a wide form beyond this dimension, and channeling that information through to your human self here. Now, we all feel like we know what intuition is, but your innate is more likened to the gut, that feeling. And we oftentimes look up here for intuition, thinking that the third eye, or that we're going to hear or see the information. And that isn't always the case. It's really about feeling what is true inside. Now, that feeling is very, very strong initially when we are children, and it is very instinctual, it's very primal, it is very physical, it is very energetic. And when we are children, that's what we go by, is feeling, not the intellect, because it isn't there as it is certainly as an adult, but also it's not formed, it's not formulated yet. So the driving force, if you will, or instinctual, intuitive perceptions are coming through the body and through the energy field, and through the emotions. And when we are in a situation as a child where that conflicts with what we're experiencing and expecting in the outer world, and our outer world consists of our home and our parents, basically, and siblings, then it creates a split. It creates a separation within. And the theme, or the current exploration, or what I like to call the collective consciousness theme, current collective consciousness theme, is surrounding that split and the inability to follow the innate, because it clashes with what that child still wants and needs. So to make it more concrete, there are quite a few clients lately, past week, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, who keep encountering this discomfort in relation to spouses, the situation they're in, business, and instead of following that innate knowing that says you need to make a change, you need to leave, um, you need to follow what you're deeply feeling, it is dismissed and ignored and put away because the unmet needs and longings of that child are still so very strong and still so very, they're very, very powerful drivers. And that creates great conflict within. So it there is a needing and a wanting and a longing and a yearning for what is naturally expected from a child in regard to the parent. Just like something as simple as if they are thirsty, then the expectation is that they will receive something to quench that thirst, something to drink and eat, and that their basic warmth and sheltering is going to be covered. These are innate instinctual wants and needs, and there would be a great surprise, and there is, when those aren't met. This isn't a question of being demanding as a child. This is a question of simply feeling what they feel, and ideally, when a parent is parenting very, very consciously and with profound awareness and desire to create the depth of safety and security, secure attachment patterns that are needed for a child, then they are very well tuned in. I know so many people who are very, very aware of what their animal, their pet is experiencing or feeling or thinking. This week I had to tune in especially to my cat because he was exhibiting certain behaviors and not liking certain things and not responding in the same way that he does to different sections of our day. And I had to really tune in and watch him and feel him and observe what's going on. First of all, going through a lot of different checklists physically. And I'm giving this example because there isn't really any difference between tuning into an animal or a pet and tuning into a child insofar as they cannot speak. They cannot express what's going on. They cannot tell you. Even when a child at 3, 4, 5, 6 can speak, that doesn't mean that they are able to describe or discern or determine what is actually hurting or upsetting them. Even physical, they will oftentimes, like a cat, ignore, dismiss, set aside even physical discomfort, although less so. But certainly they learn very, very quickly that certain things are not, certain behaviors, certain responses, certain needs are not convenient, or they may upset the parent. So they learn very, very quickly how to dismiss or ignore that, aside from the inability, as I mentioned, to clearly state and describe what's going on. So as the week went on, I'm tuned into my kitty and just, like, okay, go off the checklist. He's eating, he's what, all of that. And I really had to tune in very, very deeply and realize that as it's been getting warmer, the neighbors have now been letting their cats out and they're walking all over his property. They are marking and have free reign where he is an indoor cat and he's watching them. And it is upsetting him, and he's getting very irritable and not wanting to play or be touched like he normally does. And again, that may seem a little far-fetched, but it's not. When we are consciously tuning into children, there are tiny little clues, little bites of information, little things they say, maybe offhand about a friend or about a show they watched or a character. And it takes a great deal of effort and patience and selflessness to be able to tune in this deeply. And most often, that doesn't happen. And so the child's needs are left unmet. And those unmet needs do not die. As a matter of fact, they grow stronger as we get older. What they do is they submerge and they become more unconscious. And those are what drive our decisions, our choices. Oftentimes in regard, more often than not, almost always, I will say, in choosing a partner or a spouse. Because our system knows a certain energetic pattern of a person and will naturally gravitate towards that energetic pattern, personality pattern, etc., with the continued hope and longing and wanting for those needs to be met. And so we find ourselves, as I've mentioned with multiple clients this week, who are in relationships that are very, very difficult, very, very painful, because they are not responding, they are not collaborating, they are not tuning in, they are not, long list. And yet the person does not follow their innate knowing as to what they really need to choose. Doesn't always mean leaving the person, but it does mean ideally working with someone, a facilitator, a therapist, etc., who will assist and guide you in being able to tap down deeply into those emotions and create a bridge by transforming those emotions. Because here's what happens. Let me back up a little bit. When and every single time that the other is not responding in the way that this internal needing, wanting, longing expects, then hurt or anger or pain or even fear are created. And that just goes on the pile that has been there since childhood. And that pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the need to turn off that compulsion that comes from that emotion gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And the innate is getting louder and louder. You need to do this. You need to choose this. You need to follow what I'm telling you. It doesn't feel good. You need to make a move, a change. And so a greater need to shut that up, shut that down, is created every single time we get upset and expect the other. And oh, if I just talked to them, if they just knew, if they realized, if only they would, on and on and on. And when you shut down that innate, when you shut it up, you are treating yourself in the same way that you were treated long ago, and as you feel you are being treated by the other. They're not listening, they're not tuning in, they're not taking me into consideration, they are not putting us first or me, in as a priority. They are doing what they want selfishly, no matter how it affects me. And these are experiences of the child, and they are being recreated in that adult relationship. And as a result, in order to stay in that position or that relationship, we must shut down that internal knowing, that innate, that information that is coming from your wider self, telling you that things must change. And as a result, we separate ourselves. We are separating from that authentic, true self, and cannot reach those dreams or longings or desires that are coming from and through your essence, through and from a deeper place of you. Because we're staying in this conflict, in the hope and in the longing and in the wanting for the other to meet those needs. And as a child, that is natural, that is the way it is supposed to be. As an adult, as long as we continue to seek anything, any of those needs to be met from another, we are perpetuating that cycle. And we are perpetuating that dismissal and discounting and negation of our true self, of our authentic internal being, of our innate. And the separation that creates inside, oftentimes clients describe it as being, it's as if there's two of me, or I am able to dip in and feel that true authentic self, but only very briefly. And I don't know how to break this cycle of being split between what I know to be best for me and the other side being that I really love this person and want them to respond and behave the way that they could, would, should. And that's excruciatingly painful, more so than even what the other is apparently doing to us. is that split in between our authentic self and the life that we're living. And we can see this even on the national stage and the global stage, where people are making choices, politicians, leaders, corporations are making decisions that are selfishly benefiting rather than tuning in and feeling what is best for either their constituents or their employees or in relation to the earth. We all make choices that disconnect us from the earth, and that disconnect is causing excruciating pain, both primarily to us as a species, humanity, but it's also causing pain to Gaia, to the earth herself. For Gaia is an entity in and of herself. And the more we separate from her, the more we separate from the intricate, intimate, interconnected, interrelatedness between the earth and humanity, the more upset and disruption there is. We're seeing fires and floods and polar vortexes and coming down so much more southerly. Glaciers are just huge chunks of glaciers are falling away. Currents in the oceans are stilling or not moving the way they're supposed to. There is mass extinction going on, even in our own backyards. Birds, variety of birds, plants, trees, etc. This is breaking not only the circle of life, but this intricate, beautiful, breathtakingly complex yet simple way in which our bodies, our energy fields interact with the earth and nature and the climate, everything around us. This is meant to be a collaborative, cooperative, connected communication back and forth, a communion between the earth and humans, between nature and humans, between our bodies and the land. And this separation is creating not only great distress on both sides, but it is causing physical imbalance. And of course, we don't see that as far as the pandemic is concerned, right? This is designed, the system is designed to be a back and forth and a cooperative. We are supposed to tune in to ourselves, our bodies, our internal knowing, our innate, and feel the back and forth of the rhythm of our system, the earth, the cycles, the seasons. As I said at the top of the talk today, what's happening outside? Look, observe, tune in, feel for your body, your energy field, your system is going in accord with that. If you live in the southern hemisphere, then it's a different rhythm, it's a different pace, it's a different season. this does affect you. It does help you when you are tuned in. And it's very difficult to do that level of tuning in when you are tuning out your own innate knowing of what is best for you. And again, the subconscious is there pushing, pulling, compelling you to stay in that situation, in that relationship, in that job, in that business, in that philosophy or religion or whatever it may be that seems to promise or that will give that inner need and wanting alleviation and will be met. And yet your innate is saying, no, that's not true. They aren't going to do that. I see now that is not happening and it will not happen. And the abandoning or giving up of hope, false hope though it may be, but giving up that hope and the behaviors and the shutting down that we do in order to try to get those needs met is very, very strong. And for the work that I do, the process of going into those emotions and going back in time, which is what I do when we're working together, is to assist and guide you into getting to know how and what is going on with your own system, your own defense system, your own body, your own innate, how, and to initially interpret and teach you how to receive that information so that you are no longer without access to all of you. And in a session, when we're able to reach in deeply enough to the actual emotional core, if you will, then the energetics that I work with bend time, allowing for the child and the adult that is here now to be able to repattern that original experience and no longer have that that compulsion to follow this child's needs and wants. What's more, it reconnects you in such a way to yourself that the joy and pleasure and fulfillment of being in touch with your authentic self, with your innate, with your wider knowing is so powerful that either you're able to make that change, leave that job, the relationship, what have you, or you are so changed that the pattern of that fit between the two changes and things can grow. So it isn't always about leaving, but it is about changing self. And that is a very, very deep change that needs to take place so that you are reunited with this aspect of self, the authentic self that you have abandoned, turned your back on, shut up, shut down, shut away, which automatically allows you to feel the divine around you, meeting you in every which way. You'll feel it through the earth. You'll feel it through nature. You'll feel it through other people. Because that is what is real. That is what is going on. That is what is authentic. The other processes, the other experiences are the means by which you are able to live that, feel that, experience it, enjoy it as a physical human. And we have so much help on a constant basis. I have been very, very aware this week of the help and guidance from the animal teacher, the peacock. And the peacock is a very, very powerful symbol in so many different cultures throughout history. And it has symbolized, and what I believe, I'm looking over here because it actually compelled me to have my peacock feather nearby this week. When a teacher comes, oftentimes it helps to have a physical representation of them, whether it's a picture or a piece of fur or stuffed animal, if it's an animal teacher. There are teachers from every aspect of this planet and beyond. So tune in and allow for them to be here. And that's an automatic. Again, it's one of the automatic benefits of the process that I described earlier, of that transformation and transmutation of these apparent challenges, issues that we find in our lives. Your innate is now, as I said, very much accessible to you and very felt, as well as your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities. They come back online stronger and better than even as they were as a child. And now you have the intelligence and the capability and the experience of an adult to be able to, and there's the final piece, is that you are now tuned in, as your parents were not tuned into you, as you have not been tuned into you and your internal knowing. When and as this piece is transformed, then you are tuned into all that is around you, whether it be in nature. The information can come through television, a song, a story, a book, a movie, something that comes across your desk on the computer. Someone says something in the grocery store line in front of you. Information can come in thousands and thousands of ways, but only when we're tuned in. And that tuning in can only take place when we are actually feeling ourselves, feeling the earth, feeling the energy, feeling. It is the avenue to our authentic selves. And those of you who are energetically sensitive may have been feeling for the past 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, the energetics pouring in and beginning to take the information that I've been sharing, as well as the different teachers, elders, ancestors. Ancestors are very, very strong this week and today in particular. For those issues or challenges or patterns that I was referring to are lineage patterns. This isn't something that only occurred for you as a child in this lifetime. Clients are very, very aware, as are you, I'm sure, that when you look deeply at a particular pattern, you see how it has been repeated in parents, grandparents, if you are so fortunate, even in great-grandparents. You are exceptional. You are here to do the exceptional. You are here taking advantage of the turmoil and multitude and mix and friction and potentials of an evolutionary time so that you can complete lineage explorations, lineage challenges, so that you are able to, through these initiations, obtain a mastery, if you will, in regard to particular aspects of the human experience and as it relates to your soul's exploration. In other words, you have lived many lives or are concurrently living many lives, many existences. And the study and exploration of certain aspects has been ongoing. And this evolutionary leap that we are in the midst of allows for leaps within that soul exploration. Feel your body, feel your energy field. Budding, beginning to come to the surface, to reach towards that soul purpose or purposes. Allow the wider vision of Peacock with all its many eyes to assist you in seeing so that you may open wide the beauty within. And proudly shine and reveal who you are. Allow the stirrings within grow, to become, to sit deeply in. You authentically, truly, no matter what others, society, authority figures may think or say. Allow yourself to deeply drop in without the control of the mind. Soften your forehead. Let loose the need to run things, to vision things, to even intend things. Allow the innate guidance channeled directly from your wider self to lead you down and within to the one true source. For that is part of the one great source you are part of. And the more deeply you are able to sensate, experience, feel your internal innate knowing, enabling you to follow what feels right. Immediately experiencing the response from the divine, clues, information, signposts confirming that you are being tuned into. You are being felt and responded to. For it is when and as you tune in and feel and respond to your internal compass, your innate wisdom, that you are thereby healing that which was not done for you, and that is not perhaps being done even now. But as and when you tune in and very sensitively and respectfully follow that internal guidance, that you are then immediately responded to by the divine through so many avenues. Guides, teachers, masters, validation, confirmation, when you are on the path that is truly yours. Drop down and in one more level without having to know how to do that. Simply allow so that you are able to sensate, feel energetically, physically, or not, but receive, be open to the purity of your wider self. Sit deeply within your own exquisite perfection, beauty, divinity. Remembering remembering this truth of your being. For it is not a remembering that can be thought, but only felt. Experienced. And knowing that you can drop back into, down and into this true, pure, authentic, wider self. Anytime you so choose. For it is always there, always has been, always will be, throughout eternity. You're welcome to stay in this depth of you if you so choose, or allow your energy field and your wider self to very, very gradually, very organically following through sensation, not letting your mind control the process, but simply sensating or feeling your way or in this process of consolidating and incorporating your experience, you are able to bridge between this human physical third dimensional manifestation of you and that wider soul innate divine aspect of you. And in that bridging, you are decreasing the separation between and among those parts of you. Whenever you do decide to more fully physicalize, you will be completely incorporated, integrated, but with this easy accessible bridge that you can feel throughout the day. And you are welcome to listen to this over and over again. The energetics start about a 35-minute mark, and that will allow you to perhaps practice that bridging and the sensating of you with you. And as always, it will be available on YouTube, A Healer's Universe, and here on Facebook, on Healer's Universe page. And I will be announcing a spring equinox event outside, still with masks, but we will be live and in person. So heads up for that. And as always, I am here on Fridays at noon, and you are welcome to subscribe on YouTube. And if you sign up for the newsletter, just send me a little email, and I will sign you up, and you'll get notification and a link for this. And as always, it is with profound honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on this planet at this time. Until next time, be well in all ways.